Main Street Journal.
Alright, has anyone ever heard of Tom Devlin's Monster Museum in Boulder City, Nevada? Well, you have now. The lobby doubles as a gift shop when you walk in, loaded with tons of souvenirs. There was a couple things I wanted to buy, but I couldn't fit it in my luggage to take back home. So for the time being, I settled with just a magnet. Yeah, there's lots of cool shit I probably didn't even get on camera while I was here. There's a couple of masks, I think, designed by Tom Devlin. I didn't get a good look, so I apologize for some missing information here. But some of these masks you could tell were for movies, and some were... The Toxic Crusader one was definitely not a movie, but that would have been kind of cool to see a kid-friendly version of him, live action. And there's a shitload of signed promo glossies and posters up in the front as well. And, pardon the angle and the glare from the light above. It's kind of hard to read it all. And after all, these are places you should probably see in person and not just rely on YouTube to do it for you. I don't know about you, but for me, I'd rather experience it in person. Because once you watch your footage when you come home, it's definitely not the same. And down below right here, these are movies that were filmed that were relevant to this museum or Tom Devlin or someone associated with Tom Devlin, if I remember correctly. I paused that, didn't have really time to go fuck around and read it. More signed memorabilia here. And if I remember correctly, I think I've seen these actors on YouTube signing these in person at this location. But yeah, several artists have been in here in person. I would have loved to have participated in checking that out. That'd be pretty fun. And of course, some of the YouTubers I follow come here, such as the Grim Life Collective and Random Land, aka Justin Scarred. I'm sorry, bro, if I mispronounced your shit. I'm fucking tired. But yeah, they filmed some movies in this place. Some scenes for films were filmed in this location in the back part of the property. And not to talk shit, Boulder City used to be kind of a cool little small town. Now it's expensive, but it seems like, in my opinion, this is probably the best thing this town has besides Lake Mead, I guess. Matter of fact, Lake Mead's a little bit more horror in real life if you want to think about it. In modern times, they found a skeleton inside of a fucking barrel that was probably put in there back in 1980. That's probably the only horror competition that this place might have. In this town, that is. Kind of dig those Garbage Pail Kid parodies. I kind of wish I could have bought one of those. I don't know if they were on sale or not, but I didn't ask. I was just kind of digging them. And say what you want about the Return of Swamp Thing. It's actually, I know it's a shitty kind of movie, but it's a shitty in a good way. DC Comics, man, come on. Kind of digging these masks I see right here. Yeah, there was an action figure I was kind of digging. He checked the price, and I had to give it some thought because of my fucking luggage. I was like, they don't ship it, so I was kind of like, well, fuck. I'll just kind of go without. The Slipknot chair. Kind of cool. Not a fan of the band too much, but it is pretty cool that they got a fan base like that. Gotta dig the heavy metal and horror movie, collaborations. They always go hand in hand. And you can't forget about Mr. Alice motherfucking Cooper. Fucking Jason, how dare you fucking do that? What the fuck's wrong with you? Well, let's not go there either. And pardon me for moving fast or shaky a little bit too much here. And yeah, this whole area is free to check out, but if you're gonna come here, might as well pay admission and do the real tour while you're here. Don't be a fucking mooch. And yeah, in my opinion, it is worth the price. It's not expensive at all, and it's got a lot of cool shit once you're inside. And the lighting is a little fucked up. My angle is probably fucked up too, but yeah, gotta love the Alice Cooper shit right here. He's the fucking man. Fucking love Sleepaway Camp. The ending is like, what the fuck? A little surprise. When I own a house again, I'd love to decorate my house with heavy metal, horror movie, and mafia type stuff. Of course, my collection is very subpar to this compared. And you gotta have a Tony Todd tribute, you know, this guy was great in fucking Candyman. Good fucking actor too. Sadly, we lost him not long ago. If I remember correctly, I think CJ Graham was living in Kingman when I was living in that Mojave area years and years ago. And not to get off topic, I don't know if it was related, but there was a Jason-themed camp where he would come and chase you and shit. You could spend the night there and whatnot. That's fucking badass. I don't know if he was part of that or not, but I know it was in the same area. I need to look and see if that's still around. And here we go, the full moon shit. Fucking love Puppet Master. I want a fucking Blade figurine. That'd be cool to have. Pinhead and 6-shooter are pretty fucking cool, but you can't go wrong with fucking Blade. He's the shit. And here we go, into the exhibit. Some more screen-used props. Hopefully I moved slow enough so you could pause it and see it a little bit more clearly. And speaking of YouTube, there's Justin's Random Land hat covered in blood here. And from what I remember correctly, Plan 10 Pictures is owned and created by Tom Devlin and his wife, if I remember correctly from what I was checking out here. They made movies like Las Vegas Frankenstein and Teddy Told Me to Do It. And I'm a little behind schedule on watching movies, and I will definitely check these out one day, but I've seen little samples and previews. They look pretty good if you're into, like, you know, cheesy yet really good quality bloody horror films. I'm trying not to get too much of this film that's playing right here. I don't want to get any copyright, you know, cease and desist letters. So yeah, if you're like, you know, heading to Vegas from the Arizona side, I recommend you stop here. It's close to an A&W. I don't want to fucking sound like a goddamn commercial. So, I mean, there's food and gas and all that other stuff all around this area. I'm one of those types of people who would have, like, movie props like this year-round in their house. Maybe not, like, this excessively. But, for example, this jack-o'-lantern right here, that would be out no matter fucking what. Christmas, fucking I don't give a fuck. Summertime, yep, it's gonna be out there all day. Nighttime's gonna look like fucking Halloween in my motherfucking house. That's all I'm saying. I mean, my house would probably be more simplified if I could, you know, help it or not. I just know I would decorate my stuff with this type of theme. Some information of Jack Pierce, the makeup effects, kind of cool. Always love the behind-the-scenes stuff. And can't go wrong with some Boris Karloff either. I need to rewatch these classics. I was a little kid probably when I seen these last. If I remember correctly, I think there's a box set of the Universal monsters, like, you know, Frankenstein, Wolfman, The Mummy, Black Lagoon, all that shit, and all their sequels and little spin-off crossovers, whatever you call them. Dig the face. Here, you can't go wrong with my fucking, one of my favorite fucking movies ever made in general. Fucking Terminator goddamn 2. What does he say in that scene? Say, that's a nice bike. Something like that. The T-1000 said to the motorcycle cop. I got to hear some cool stories about the film behind the scenes. That was, won't say who, but yeah. I dig this T-800 skull, though. T2 is definitely one of those movies I could watch, like, whenever, like once a year, even more. It's just one of those movies I could pop in if I ever have time to fucking watch a flick. I think when you're an 80s, 90s kid, that's like your nostalgia, like, favorite or something, you know what I mean? It just kind of came with the time and place. And I actually dig the third Terminator film. Some people don't dig it. I don't expect a fucking something to be just as good as Terminator 2, but I mean, it is actually a pretty good movie. And here we got some literature for Wes Craven. I really dig his 80s flicks, such as Swamp Thing, and here we go, Mr. Freddy Krueger himself. It's kind of funny how, like, the 80s had these great slashers. You had the early 80s, and then when the sequels came, as the 80s were kind of going through the 90s, they were getting a little comedic, but they were still good cheese classics to check out, especially in the VHS rental days. Like Wishmaster, for example. That was like something you see, oh, that looks cool, and you check it out. It was all trial and error. Most of the shit I fucking loved back then. And especially back in the day, the mainstream horror was actually good quality, before it got kind of watered down. And it seems like the Scream movies can continue for like ever, because it's like every movie has a different person as the killer. They kind of have the Scooby-Doo ending on every flick. I think they're getting a little more creative because there's so many sequels, and they're making it like there's a big cult of these ghost face killers. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder what the next one's gonna be like, because there's only like, what was there, like 6 or 7? Kind of forgetting. And of course you can't go wrong. Can't leave out Mr. fucking Michael Myers, dude. Yeah, by the way, this is like my second time in this place, and they do move stuff around, and they get new stuff, they take stuff out, etc. Maybe I'll dig up some pictures somewhere whenever I find them and make a separate video for that. That'd be kind of cool. Here's some information of John Carpenter himself here. And if you're craving some barbecue, here's some Texas Chainsaw stuff right here. I fucking love the first 2 a lot, and the third one, I guess. Definitely love the soundtrack for the third one, Leatherface. It's got a bunch of classic thrash bands on it. And then, of course, the first 2 are done by Tobe Hooper. It took me a while to like the fourth one, The Next Generation. And there's like so many sequels and remakes even for the Leatherface films. And don't get me wrong, they're all actually worth watching at least one time. Remember, the chainsaw is family. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I remember Texas Chainsaw 2. There's a part I really like where the actor Bill Moseley plays a character named Chop Top, one of Leatherface's siblings, I think. He's got that metal plate in his head, and he lights up a metal coat hanger, and he scratches it. And then he fucking licks it. That shit's fucking funny. I like when they add some wacky fucking random humor in these cheesy horror flicks. And the whole EXIT, exit, goodnight, that shit was funny. But yeah, that's the actor who plays in House of a Thousand Corpses and the Rob Zombie trilogy. I know, Leatherface is the star of the films, but that Chop Top character is fucking classic. Yeah, I should have got a better shot of that character on the picture there. And I'm so behind on a lot of these newer releases coming out, these sequels or these whole new horror films like this one, Behind the Mask. Even though the movie was, 2006, I've heard of it, I just never really got around to it. I think I have seen The Strangers one time at least. And if you have any suggestions, hit me up in the comments, Of course, I'll have to make time to watch the damn thing, but go right ahead and let me know, and I'll add it to my list. And the other genre of horror films I like, Italian horror films, are fucking awesome. Got George Romero. Here's the one that started it all, in my opinion, in a good way, is Night of the Living Dead. The Tom Savini remake is also good. What's from 1990? It's a good film, but it doesn't beat this classic. And the other 2 from the trilogy of George Romero, we got Dawn of the Dead, which is probably my favorite one, and then Day of the Dead. And it seems like a lot of people don't know that those are like a trilogy. I mean, they could be their own standalone film. And no, Return of the Living Dead has no connection to those whatsoever. People always think they do. And there's actress Judith O'Dea, who plays Barbara. I think she was supposed to play in a film called Witch Child that was being filmed at Prescott when I was residing in the area. She's a Sedona local. But something came up where she couldn't make the film or something like that. That would have been kind of cool. And here's some stuff from Return of the Living Dead, like I was just talking about. These movies have a little bit more humor, and the zombies actually speak. And it's crazy, like regular television would play these fucking movies like on weekends, weekends, like during the day. Or even just like late at night at random and shit. You just like pop in and like discover a film like this. That's kind of how it was done. I genuinely miss that shit. And of course, Jason, probably my favorite slasher character in all of horror film history. Out of all the Jasons, people have their favorites. I think mine is Sackhead Jason from the second one. I think maybe also the look is cool, but I think also because the fact that he's a more realistic like type of killer. He's not super strong. He's someone you could fight off real easy, maybe me. But he's kind of sloppy, he's running around with a weapon and he's just kind of trudging around the place chasing the person. And of course they had to get creative and make him like a superhuman zombie type of dude. But that's the beauty of characters evolving throughout the sequels, It's like for a vacation, I like to just go to a different time and a place at the same time, you know? Not just go somewhere and travel. I want to go to a different fucking time frame and like revisit some of this shit, you know? Like indulge it a little bit. I dig how the fifth Friday the 13th film has a nice little surprise ending to it. Oh, some trivia I should have mentioned a little bit ago. Kane Hodder, I think he's the only actor to play Jason more than once. I think he played him in 3 films. I remember back in the day, kids were saying who's cooler, Jason or Freddy, and you know, I always liked Jason more. I mean, I like Freddy too, don't get me wrong. But people were talking about, hey, that'd be cool if they had a fucking movie together and they fight, and this is like late 80s, I remember. And then like finding out sometime in the mid 90s, I think, early mid 90s, they were talking about making a fucking Freddy and Jason movie happen after all. Then 2003 comes along and it comes out, Freddy versus Jason. And I don't want to say it was a disappointment, but it was during the phase when the characters are a little more funny. You know, the Freddy character anyway, it was just like, it was a good watch, you know, it was a good laugh more so. I do dig the concept of, was it Friday the 13th, A New Blood? This chick with telekinesis, like, kicks Jason's ass, like, making objects fly into him and shit. That was fucking kind of a cool little, you know, idea, I thought at the time. Now here we got some Clive Barker, some Hellraiser shit. I love these fucking movies. You know, of course the first one's like a genuine, like, satanic horror film type, I guess you could say. I wouldn't say satanic. The second one's more like a sci-fi horror, which that one's actually fucking good too. And the third one, people give it a lot of shit. I actually like it. Not because one of my favorite bands, Armored Saint, is in the fucking movie, but it is actually pretty doable. It's early 90s. It's one of those HBO late-at-night flicks. And part of the angles and the lighting, it's actually kind of dark, and there was like these little angles I'm trying to like get the fucking, you know, good aim to see what I'm looking at, but it was kind of hard to pick up on the camera. And I vaguely remember the sequels after Hellraiser 3. I think I own like part 4 or 5 or something like that. And I just really have been fucking slacking on those. I heard mixed stories about them, but I'm still curious. I like the Pinhead character. Now it looks like we are going to the desert again, for The Hills Have Eyes. The sequel was actually alright. The remakes are pretty cool too, but I love this fucking classic, this first, you know, debut film. I mean, that shit could be semi-true. You don't know what the fuck happens in the desert. I remember when Child's Play came out, the first one, fucking has a little comedic overtones to it. It's, you know, it's a good debut. It's really dark, you know. The sequel's got a little more funnier later on. The actor Brad Dourif does a fucking killer, no pun intended, fucking performance as Chucky, Charles Lee Ray. Like, he's got the voice, the personality, and the facial expressions. Same kind of goes for Leprechaun, played by the actor Warwick Davis, who plays Wicket in the Return of the Jedi and the Ewok films, as well as Willow. I remember they made like a fuck ton of sequels. Some of them went to straight to VHS. One was like, he goes to Las Vegas, that one was okay. Then one, he goes to space, and then another, he goes to the hood. They're all different leprechauns, played by the same actor. I guess they all have a different name. You kind of watch them all once, and that's good enough, I guess. But here's a classic that should have gotten a fucking sequel, maybe a long time ago. And we're talking Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And yeah, I've been hearing that there might be a sequel coming out, and I'll believe it when I hear a little bit more specifics on it. And here's a movie series I've not really got to indulge much in. It's these Ghoulies movies. I've seen like bits and pieces of them, and I think I need to like one day just fucking binge them whenever the fuck I get a chance to. I remember like coming home from school and the Sci-Fi Channel was playing them. And that's another thing about the 80s I'm going to brag about is the practical effects. I love it. Before the CGI takeover. I mean, I understand a little CGI, but it seems like the film industry, when horror movies got mainstream, they just really relied heavily on CGI. And like, I think some, you know, in ways they're bringing the practical effects back, and I love that. You know, they're going back to the old school. Here we go, my fucking favorites. I'm kind of a nerd for the Puppet Master, the Full Moon Pictures, fucking Doll Man, Demonic Toys. Was kind of hoping they'd cross all three of those together in one flick. That'd be cool if Troma and Full Moon did a crossover film. Oh, here's a movie I kind of didn't like it much as a kid, but it grew on me as I got older. Maybe there's a meaning to this film. They Live. I fucking love that film. It kind of shows like how things are ran behind the scenes that you never will fucking know. But no, on the topic about practical effects, of course I'm glad they brought it back, but it shows the younger generation, how shit was made back in the day, and that they're bringing it back for them to check out. They get to experience movies coming out that actually have that. But it does seem like the thing they're missing out on is going to the video store, especially the mom and pop video stores, because some places, you have to go far to go to a Blockbuster. But there'd be like mom and pop video stores all over the fucking place. Sometimes there'd be like 2 in the neighborhood, sort of, and you go pick which ones you gotta fucking, oh, this one has that one, this one has that one. That was kind of cool, that convenience we had. But you would see the big posters on the wall or in the window, or the promotional stands for movies where they'd have like the VHS for sale on display. I know I'm getting off topic, but I mean this shit really fucking brings me back. Just looking at like the practical effects and it's just like my whole experience of watching movies, stuff you'd pick up on a whim, like on accident. Oh, this looks cool, let's rent it. It'll either suck or it's great, we don't know, because like you just see a really cool cover. And I dig these Planet of the Apes movies, of course, these classic ones. There's what, 5 of them? But I will say the first one is awesome. The second one I actually like a lot. It had a real fucked up ending to it, but I really dig that one a lot. And here we go. Here's the Universal Classics, Lon Chaney Jr., the original classic Wolfman. Out of the classic Universal horrors, I think the Wolfman's probably my favorite. I like the whole werewolf thing a little bit more than vampires. Here we got some the Munsters. I always hoped they would have crossed over with the Addams Family. That would have been kind of neat. But, different ownerships of the characters. And back to the Universal characters, we got the creature from the Black Lagoon here. I like how that 80s flick, The Monster Squad, like put all these Universal characters into one film where they're all the bad guys and, Frankenstein's monster helps the kids fight them off. Us 80s kids were fucking spoiled with good shit. But I think we earned it. We used to eat shit on our bikes, dude. We used to get our asses handed for cussing and, menial little things we would get in trouble for. Anyway, hopefully I want to see this new Beetlejuice flick. Ah, shit. Here's one of my favorite characters of all time in here, is the Critters. The first 2 fucking Critters are awesome. They're fucking tits. Especially the second one, if you dig what I'm saying. I know I'm kind of backtracking on camera on some things you've probably already seen, but I'm going to talk about Critters again. Not to overshadow Lon Chaney Jr. again, but no, the Critters movies, I'm hoping, they made 4 of them. The first 2 were great. There was a sequel and a short run series on Shudder. But it would be kind of cool to see like a proper sequel being made, like a proper part 3. Say it's set like in the modern world or whatever, and the bounty hunters come back or whatever the fuck. We can hear like a heavier version of Power of the Night. I don't know. I'm just, fucking my brain thinks about creative shit like that. And it might not be as good as it fucking sounds, but to me that'd be fucking up. And here I'm outside of the building. I'm gonna take you around the corner to check out some of these cool vehicles you may have seen in a couple films. Kind of a perfect spot for tourists to stumble upon as they're heading to Las Vegas. They'll probably think it's some really cool roadside attraction until they get closer. And I already said it before in another video, but it seems like the Las Vegas area has just about something for almost everybody. And speaking of, here's these vehicles for these films. These films faded into obscurity, No, you got goddamn Ecto-1 from the Ghostbusters movies and the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, obviously. And I didn't get quite a good look to see which particular film they're from, sequel-wise. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, or if I missed something, put it in the comments. Just don't be a dick, because that's my job, like I said before. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing is okay. I kind of went a little ahead of myself behind the back lot here, and got a little close-up of some of these props out in the back. Just don't touch anything. I mean, I at least just kind of kept my distance. I just don't know if I was supposed to be like wandering around the lot like that. So yeah, do try to be careful when doing that, especially if you're making a video. I don't want to get a fucking, contact from them giving me some shit. I just don't want to disrespect anything or violate anything, you know what I'm saying? I kind of dig the hearse that they got out in the front on the parking lot here. Kind of reminds me of like one of the Joker's cars on the Batman flick back in '89. And there you have it. Thank you for checking out Mean Street Journal. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the fucking bell. Be sure to check out tpublic.com for Mean Street Wear for all your offensive apparel needs. There's something for everybody. The proper attire for peace marches, religious events, stuff to wear at family reunions. Or, how about something you wear when you go on your first date? Since Valentine's Day is coming up. And there you have it. Catch you next time. See ya.